Thank you very much, Khan Sahab. In the name of Almighty Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent, the most benevolent. This is Naushabe Khan, and as a matter of fact, this is such a privilege to be among you. You're the rising stars of legal fraternity, rising stars of this profession. And as Khan Sahab has rightly mentioned, that in the past, since 2011, I have this privilege to be a resource person of Punjab Judicial Academy and have the veneration to share this aspect of legal parlance to the additional district and session judges, to the civil judges, to the public prosecutors, to the law officers, and to the officers of Honorable Lahore High Court establishment, right from additional registrar down to the PAs and court associates. But I'm really privileged and delighted that I'm among you today. This is the first lecture of this type for the students of law or for the budding lawyers. Now, before I commence my session, let me share with you the vision behind this topic. And I will borrow the vision of His Lordship, Mr. Justice Shujat Ali Khan, the senior puisne judge of Honorable Lahore High Court, Lahore. Mr. Justice Shujat Ali Khan has written the foreword for the guidebook. I have compiled this guidebook actually, keeping in view the peculiar needs of Pakistani students. Being a Pakistani student, having a very humble background, we learned alphabets when we were in class 6. We did not have the privilege to study the alphabets in kindergarten. But we are competing in this profession, and since English is the lingua franca of the world, English is the language of this profession. Believe you me, this very skill alone has enabled me to become a lawyer of the stature Allah Mia has blessed me today. This only skill. And in this session, for about an hour and a half, we will explore different facets of this skill, that what is involved and what is required to be learned. But let me borrow the vision of His Lordship, Mr. Justice Shujat Ali Khan, who has written foreword for this guidebook actually. And I'd like to read this foreword for you all. And this is the germane to this guidebook actually, which we will be exploring during this hour and a half session. His Lordship, Mr. Justice Shujat Ali Khan, has written, I highly appreciate this endeavor of Mr. Naushab Ali Khan. His work will facilitate judges, lawyers, court staff, and law students to learn pronunciation of legal terminology based on received pronunciation. As a matter of fact, received pronunciation is a prestigious and standardized accent of British English that has served as a benchmark for clarity and eloquence in the English language. And finally, in fact, if Khizr Sahab just highlight the keywords in this foreword, and I'd like to read for you, precisely Naushab Ali Khan has devised an excellent approach to a very difficult and unresolved aspect of legal parlance. I wish all the very best. Now let's begin actually that what is this skill involved. Though in most of my sessions, I prefer to converse and communicate in English, but my brother, Mr. Chahal, the Secretary General of Lahore High Court Bar Association, he has asked me to be bilingual. So I'd like to be bilingual in order to make sure that we all are learning this skill together. And as I said, that we are going to learn this skill together because I'm also one of the student of law, and we will be actually exploring the possibilities of learning the legal parlance. So let's begin. I have shared with you the handouts for today. Let's have a look at the very handout and page number 2. I'd like to draw your attention. And by the way, let me announce something very interesting. Uh, as I said earlier, that we are making an endeavor to learn this skill together. I'm also one of the students in this classroom, and we will just interact with each other and try to explore the possibilities in order to make the use of this skill in an adept manner, right? So I really want that everybody should actively participate. And for that purpose, I have requested the worthy Secretary, Lahore High Court Bar Association, to present emblems of advocate to those participants on my recommendations, and I will give the recommendation keeping in view your participation, your active participation. So whosoever will actively participate, I will request and recommend the worthy secretary to present the advocate emblem to that participant or to the member of this, in fact, class. I was in this classroom yesterday. I was sitting at the back and I stayed for about 15 minutes. And I observed one thing. The worthy judge, family court, she was sharing some aspects of law. And believe you me, that right after the third row, everybody was active doing his own tasks or her own tasks. They have their own engagements and they were absolutely disengaged from the teachings of the worthy uh, teacher or the lecturer. So I really want you, everybody, to actively participate. And believe you me, if I use the word for this very skill, the skill I'm going to share with you, if I use just one word for this skill, and that word is catalyst. Those who have studied chemistry, they must know that catalyst is something which can change the complexion. So catalyst means that if you have a humble background like Naushab Ali Khan, and you did not study English the way students of Cambridge University, students studying external programs, they have that privilege. But still you can make up your deficiency. It's not late at all. You are very well in time. Just you are required to learn this skill, right? So let's begin. And those at the back, I may request actually Khan Sahab, kindly, or Khizr Sahab, can you please ask, or Hafiz Sahab, कि उनमें भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दें ये जिनके पास नहीं पहुंची. मैं देख रहा हूँ आखिर में कुछ दोस्त बैठे हैं, सबके पास आ गई हैं. चलिए, दैट्स ब्रिलियंट. अच्छा जी, लेट्स स्टार्ट विद पेज नंबर 2. पेज नंबर 2, और दिस इज गोइंग टू बी, जी सर. अच्छा, चलिए, मैं मेरा ख्याल है कि आई प्रेफर टू बी इन द मिडल एक्चुअली, चूंकि मैं स्टूडेंट्स के दरमियान रहना चाहता हूं. और आई थिंक नाउ यू कैन, आई विल बी ऑडिबल. नाउ लेट्स हैव अ लुक एट पेज नंबर 2. एंड पेज नंबर 2 इज legal terms and pronunciation. And we will find this word. It is written Primafacie. And this is used recently in a citation that is PLD 2022 Lahore, page 61. And at paragraph 31, the contention of the learned counsel for the petitioner that the conduct of the government functionaries smacks of malice is, underlined word, not founded. Now, I deliberately avoided to read out that word for you, right? Now you are a lawyer. The very first day, let's say you are engaged for a suit for dissolution of marriage, a fellow is engaged to file a pre-arrest bail, right? Or A is engaged for filing a suit for perpetual injunction. These are the sort of work you get when you start your practice as a lawyer, right? Now, let's say you're engaged in a custody of a minor matter or a matter pertaining to guardianship, and the intelligible preference of the minor or the ward is required to be solicited. There is a word written, adequate age, or to have to be aged enough. Now today, the Honorable Lahore High Court is trying to understand that what is the adequate age, right from 12 years of age to 18 years of age, in order to grant this opportunity to a minor to decide that whether he or she intends to live with his mother or father, right? What is the right age? Now, to just find out this very matter, His Lordship Mr. Justice Jawad Hassan at Rawalpindi bench, he has especially appointed amicus curiae to ascertain that what is the right age, whether 14 years of age is the adequate age. Now, for let's say you are a lawyer in this brief, or you are a lawyer for, as I said, filing a pre-arrest bail application, and you need to find out a judgment on ulterior motive or mala fide of the complainant, or in a suit for dissolution of marriage, you want to establish that your husband or the husband of your client is actually his callous, his behavior is unacceptable, right? What is right after reading the relevant section for a bail application, for a suit for dissolution of marriage, you will just read out the relevant section of law, and afterwards, what will you do? You will just go to the library, and on the matter of mala fide, on the matter of ulterior motive, you will find the latest judgments. You will try to find out that Honorable Supreme Court of Pakistan, Honorable High Courts, whether they have devised any jurisprudence on the subject matter. And for that purpose, you will research a relevant judgment. And if you are now visiting the courts, you may have observed that Judge Sahab very often asks this question, that is there any relevant judgment on the subject matter? At times, there are very intricate questions involved, and the determination of those questions can only be made while relying on the judgments. For instance, if I quote a recent example, I am representing the effectees of a housing society known as Illama Iqbal Housing Scheme Sahiwal. There are more than 100 and I am their counsel. I am appearing before the division bench of NAB headed by His Lordship Mr. Justice Farooq Haider. And the question involved is that under section 25B of NAB amendment law, under what circumstances the plea bargain can be accepted, or the application of plea bargain can be approved. This is a simple question. And believe you me, nowadays I, along with my team, Mr. Daud, Ms. Mehreen Abbas, and Mr. Mustantar Ashraf Advocate, and all the teammates, we are just trying to find out judgments on the question of the enabling circumstances where an application of plea bargain can be accepted, right? That is what I am telling you after spending 25 years in this profession. When you will start your profession tomorrow, inshallah, the very fundamental question will be that you need to find out that what is the relevant judgment. Now you need to read out that judgment. And let's say in that judgment, you are a lawyer. As you know, I'm sure that you have been to the High Court, and you might have observed that in urgent cases early morning, when you appear on the rostrum before the judge, in most of the cases, there are hundreds or more than 50 lawyers sitting at the back, and now you're on the lectern. And you have not more than 2-3 minutes to leave an impression to the learned judge that whether you are prepared or you are not prepared. Am I correct? Now, in order to make out your case, you have two fundamentals. One, the facts of your case. And number two, the reliance you have placed on a judgment rendered by the superior courts. Now, let's say you are asked to read out this judgment and you have filed a writ petition against LDA, and your stance is that LDA, this writ is under Article 199, and LDA, since is rendering services for the local government, so LDA is a statutory authority and your writ is maintainable. This is the writ you filed. And let's say you are asked to read out this judgment. Your reliance is on this judgment. Your judgment says, the contention of the learned counsel for the petitioner that the conduct of the government functionaries smacks of malice is underlined, not founded. Now, that underlined word is the very first key word I would like to share with you. And I want you to pronounce this word from the very first day of starting your career as a lawyer in received pronunciation. What is received pronunciation? Received pronunciation is the standard accent. It is the accent known globally. I was talking to Mr. Khizr Yaqub Sahab and a while ago, and he shared with me one thing very important, very interesting. He said that his senior, Mr. Muhammad Ahmed Qayyum, is one of the prolific lawyer, I must say. He is representing an international client, and the matter relates to arbitration. And when online we discuss with their attorneys sitting anywhere in the world, there is a transcription which is automatically generated by artificial intelligence. Now, let's say you are one who are engaged or you intend to represent a law firm engaged in arbitration, and you are asked to read out a document and you do not know how to read a specific word. The transcription of that word will be produced incorrectly. And imagine that what impression this will cast to the client and to your future practice as a lawyer, right? So my understanding is that you people are very lucky that what we learned over the period of last 25 years, you are able to study that today. So let's acquire this word right from today, and for rest of our life, let's pronounce in received pronunciation. And just to enable you to gauge that whether you are capable to pronounce this word in received pronunciation, before I proceed, I'd like you to write it down by your own self, the pronunciation you think is correct. Now, let's have a look at this page. For the word underlined in this citation, I have written in capital letters PRIMAFAYSHEE. The received pronunciation of this word is prima facie.